7:30, so I guess it's time to go live. Let me see. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Field Cap Podcast. Today we're sitting down with Tyler Novatin. He is a local automotive photographer. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I started shooting cars back in like 2015 or 16. I was more into like racing, drifting, and on like that kind of photography.
Mm-hmm.
And then my friend John, one of my best friends, he had a BMW M3 F80 and started kind of building it a little bit here and there. Like he bought coilovers for it, and then he bought wheels, and then he
Yeah.
did little carbon accents around it. So it kind of introduced me to like more of like the show car kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So as of right now, I've been doing more show car stuff than drifting stuff because the drifting season hasn't really started yet.
Right.
But Club Loop actually does have an event on Saturday, which I'm hoping I make it into.
Oh, do they? I didn't. I missed that
Yeah.
announcement.
Well, the thing is, it's 25 drivers for each group, 25 media, and I don't think they have spectators allowed for this one, but I think they
Okay.
said their upcoming events they're going to try and figure out what to do with like
Okay.
spectators and stuff.
So I bet those media spots filled up pretty quick.
Pretty much the head of media was like, if the application's closed, you pretty much didn't make it. And I signed up, I think with, I don't know how, it went live like 10 minutes before I signed up. So I have no idea if I made it in. I just kind of put it in and said, okay, here we go. I guess I hope for the best. But
Yeah. No, I was gonna try to apply for some events, and then like coronavirus happened, and then
yeah,
it was just like I don't know, but yeah, I'll definitely have to keep an eye out then for when they have more events, because I like
yeah.
that's something I really want to get into, because
hmm
I started out doing automotive photography with just like my friends, and then like friends of friends, and then I decided to start like branding myself on Instagram, and then
hmm
the whole community from within Instagram I kind of like spread out, but I never got into doing any organized events or anything. But it definitely looks
Yeah.
like super fun. Like I see all your pictures and it's like crazy.
Oh, it is crazy and it's hilarious because there's you like if you go there for long enough, maybe I would say 2 to 3 years, you start to create like a little family. Like I have a couple guys, I have at least 5 or 6 guys that I always see there constantly every time I go there, and we always like laugh and crack jokes and stuff like that. But
Mm.
we never really get jealous of each other, and it's really cool because you always walk in and it's always like, hey, how you doing? Like you act like events are usually like a month or a month and a half apart,
Yeah.
but when you get there, it's like it was like they were yesterday. It wasn't like it was so long ago, and
Yeah.
it's really cool. The whole environment also is really cool. Everyone's really chilled or really relaxed. The only thing is they're very strict on their rules, which I can understand
Mm-hmm.
completely.
No, yeah.
So it's a cool
Um.
environment though. I
Oh
like
yeah.
it.
No, for sure. But so you said you started out in automotive photography with drift events or like drifting.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
how did that kind of come to be?
So I heard from a friend that they were having drift events at Englishtown, and I was like, okay, I want to go visit one or like go see one or watch one, like spectate it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the one I went to was East Coast Bash, was just like the biggest one on the East Coast ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I went there, and there was so many drivers, so many people. I was like, this is really cool. Like I like this, and I just kind of got hooked into that, like kind of going like more and more, trying to figure out when the events were because I didn't have the schedule, so I was just trying to play it by ear. Like if I found out someone was going, I'd be like, oh, when is it, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of go with that. And after that, I figured out that you could actually apply for media passes because I thought the media passes were like you had to know someone. They
Mm-hmm.
really have like it's like an application on their website, and you just fill it out, and you
Yeah.
pretty much hope to get in. And the one time I talked to, I pretty much owe my drifting photography career to this one dude. His name's Jeff Roberts.
Okay.
He helped me out tremendously with the East Coast Bash the following year because he talked to the media guy, the head of media, and was like, "Hey, this kid's really he's like he's been itching to get out here. He's always behind the fence. He's always taking pictures. I want to see what he can do out there."
Wow. Okay.
And so the first time I went out there, I was all excited because it was the biggest event and it was one of the hardest events to get a media pass for your first time ever.
Mm.
And I was insanely excited, insanely happy. I think I took about 4 to 5 thousand photos that day,
Whoa,
and
that's a
yeah,
lot of pictures.
every event I do at least 4 to 5 thousand photos just
Wow, that's
because of the
crazy.
pan shot.
Oh, true. Yeah, you probably have multiple
But-
photos in just one pan.
oh, looking through them is terrible, but
Oh,
it's fun.
I can imagine.
But pretty much that's how that all started, and then um, I got taught how to do the pan stuff, and then from there I've just been doing the pan stuff. I've been trying to focus more on like still shots, but also like more like environmental kind of things, like in the pits and stuff like that.
Yeah, more of like the surrounding like environment,
Yeah,
the lifestyle.
like I'll look through a bunch of the other media guys like albums to see like if I'm missing out on something,
Yeah.
and I'll look through just to see if I can take something out of it, or like see if I can just, I don't know, really see what I'm missing,
Hmm.
or
Yeah, like get
like
some inspiration.
if they like it, then I'll try and do it. Like I won't steal their idea, but I'll try my hand at it.
Hmm.
Sometimes I figure out things don't work and I just kind of stick to what I know. But as of right now, I've been really focused on the actual driving aspect, not as much as like the working on the cars in the pits. Like if something
Hmm.
breaks, they need to go fix it. But
Yeah.
that's only because when I'm out on track and they have run groups, you can't really move around track. You're pretty much planted where you are
Hmm.
on the track unless they have like an accident where they have to toast someone off, or if they have like a stoppage for a little bit. But
Okay.
usually you're planted where you are for that session, and usually sessions are like an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Yeah. Oh wow. So that you're kind of like just like out in the middle for
Yeah,
a while then.
there's specific areas. So like the one turn that they have, they call tree turn. That's
Hmm.
one turn that you can actually make it back up into the pits and walk around and stuff. But once you're out in front, like out in the field, like on the racetrack, like
Yeah.
either first turn, they used to have a media barrier in the middle of the track, but they took that out and they put it in the back track.
Oh,
So
okay.
pretty much where you are there is where you are for that 2.5 hours, and they tell you bring water, make sure you have food, because we're not stopping if you need to like eat or drink. We're just gonna keep going. You have to wait.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow, that's crazy. So it must really get like hot out there on like
Oh
hot summer
yes,
days or something. Wow,
yeah,
I never
and
I never knew that.
yeah, they have rules to where you can't wear shorts. You have to wear pants and like sleeve shirts.
Uh-huh. That makes
You
sense.
can't, yeah, no tank tops or anything. It's just because I've actually been hit with rubber before coming around the bank.
It's
They'll
hot.
shoot rubber at you. Yeah, they'll shoot rubber at you. It hurts.
Yeah.
I've been hit in the face by it. I've had chunks all over the top of my hat brim.
Uh-huh.
I'll come home, I'll take my hat off, it'll all just fall off. I'm like,
That's
oh,
funny.
great.
Yeah. No, I like I said, I haven't really been to a drift event there, but
Yeah.
I was at the last when the drag strip was still open. I was at the
Okay.
last Waterfest,
Okay.
and they had the burnout competition, and I was right. I didn't have a media pass or anything, but I was
Mm.
right in the front, like where the gate is,
Yeah.
and I was filming, and like just tire trunks were coming at me, and I
Hmm.
was like, "Oh, this hurts more than like you think it would."
Yeah. Everyone's like, oh, it's just rubber. You'll be fine. It's like, no, it's kind of hard.
Yeah, like it could leave a mark. Like
Yeah, it
it's so
can.
surprising.
Yeah.
No, but
Especially when with like the burnouts and like all that kind of stuff, it's hot, so it
hmm
can burn you if it hits you for long enough. It stays
yeah,
on you, it can burn you. Because like there was a piece I went to pick it up and I was like, I wasn't smart, and I held it and I was like, I didn't feel the pain initially, and then I looked at
yeah,
my
it
fingers
comes
and they
off.
were red, and I was like, okay, throw that away.
Yeah. You know what's cool with the rubber debris though is I know one year Crispy Media at
Hmm.
H2O he
Hmm.
like collected it and then put
Yeah,
it in like a little like bottle and then like sold it as like merch or whatever, which was like
yeah,
super cool. That was like a smart idea.
yeah. Funny story leading to that, actually. Me and my best friend John actually made it into the after movie, this year's after movie,
Oh no way.
for the wrong reasons.
Oh no.
So we got pulled over in a McDonald's parking lot,
Okay.
and it was because his BMW has like a gunshot tune on it, so pretty much when he backfires, it pretty much sounds like a gun going off.
Yeah.
So he pulled us over for that, and we were sitting in the car, and two undercover OCPD cops came up behind the other cop that pulled us over. So we had 6 officers in total there,
Yeah.
and it was me and him just kind of sitting in the parking lot. And Crispy's minivan rolled around in the drive-through, and Crispy was like, "Oh, do you want a McDouble?" He was asking my friend John if he wanted something, and my friend John couldn't hear him, so he goes to lean out the window and he plants his foot on the trans tunnel, and
Oh.
his foot slipped off the trans tunnel and hit the throttle,
Oh
and
no.
it revved up, and as soon as it started to rev down, it did 4 like the
Oh my
loudest pops I've
gosh.
ever heard his car do. All the cops turned and looked at us. The one I think it was like the deputy or like the head. He was
Oh
there,
my gosh.
and he was like, turn this car off now. We're gonna have big problems. And John was like, okay, sir.
Did he get a chance to explain that it was an accident or like?
Yeah. They said it was an accident, and John he ended up. We ended up getting 6 or 7 tickets that stop,
Oh wow.
and it was because he had his windshield tinted, so it was illegal tint, stretch tires,
Uh huh.
unsafe vehicle on roadway because the stretch tires,
Yeah.
and I think he got 4 exhaust tickets each for each pop.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
That's so
And
funny.
yeah, and I had to figure out how to get us back to our hotel because we were on 127th Street. Our hotel was on 18th Street. We are on like the
Oh, you were
opposite
way.
end of the.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the cop was like, "If we see you driving on the strip, we can impound the car like immediately." He was like, "You figure out a way to get it out of the parking lot, or like within 12 hours, or it will be towed."
Oh
And
wow.
I was sitting there like calling everyone I knew with a trailer. There was like 3 drift guys I knew that were down there. I was like, "Do you have a trailer? Please tell me you have a trailer."
That's
But
insane.
the tow truck guy finally came in and towed us out, and he
Mm.
was cool about it. He even offered him his spare set of wheels because he
Oh
had
wow.
a BMW and they were stock. So he was like, I'll give you my set of wheels." He's like, "This car is too pretty to be just stuck in a parking lot."
Yeah. No, that's really nice. That's cool.
Yeah,
I
but 3 hours later, he was out driving the strip, and I could have killed him, but
uh, I don't remember. I remember I wrote an article kind of it was kind of about H2O, but then I had a portion of the article that I featured like a bunch of people. I put on my Instagram story and on like Reddit and stuff. I was
Mhm.
like, if anyone got a ticket at H2O, I'm gonna make a victims list. I don't know. You might have responded to
I
that.
might have said something about it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
because I had a lot of people, but I
I
wouldn't be surprised
knew
if he's on there.
I knew like 3 people that got tickets. I feel like I was the bad luck thing because I got in my friend's car and he
Uh-huh.
had like a little banner across like the bottom of his windshield, and the cop was literally towing someone else's car, and he pointed at both of us in the car, and he waved them over, and we were like, "What the hell is he getting us for?" And he didn't even know what he was getting us for. The the kid was like, "What did you pull me over for?" And the cop takes a minute, looks at the front windshield, and then comes back in the window and is like, "Your front banner." And me and the kid both looked at each other like he definitely just made that up right then and there.
Oh yeah, 100%. I wonder
it's
though.
it's it's like a cash grab for
Oh
them,
no,
pretty
for
much.
real. But like, I wonder how many tickets actually like how many tickets do people fight and how many tickets do people just like decide to pay?
I think I think people would just rather pay them than fight them. I mean, the stupid tickets I would see people fighting, but
Yeah.
like if you get a ticket for doing a burnout, it's pretty much a $75 ticket rather than
Oh,
getting
that's
your
it.
car impounded. I think so. Without a crowd around you, it's a $75 ticket because it's like spinning tires or something like that. That's the
Okay.
label. But if there's a crowd around you, then it turns into a reckless driving, and then
Oh, really?
that's when they can up the price of the ticket or take your car.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know two people. They're actually both VW guys. Both of their cars got
Hmm.
impounded.
Hmm.
And the one, he actually stayed an extra day and was just driving the strip, like wasn't doing
Hmm.
anything, and he's like cambered out, got the stretched tires,
Yeah.
and just got impounded. And he was like, "I knew I shouldn't have stayed the last day, but he did, and he got impounded."
Yeah. We stayed I think till Monday.
Hmm.
He left Sunday morning, but I stayed till Monday. He made I don't know, he drives like an animal. He made it to Ocean City from Jersey to Ocean City in 2.5 hours.
Are you serious?
I'm dead
That's
serious.
like what? At least like 4 hours ish.
It's a 4 hour drive,
Yeah.
and with the ferry, I think it was like almost a 3.5 to 4 hours. Because me and my dad took the ferry, but he drove all the way down. And
Wow.
I told my dad, I was like, he had to average at least 130, 140 the whole way down.
That's actually like
He said he went through a speed trap and the license plate was blurred, so they couldn't really get him.
oh, that's so funny. Dang. That's the way you do it. You got to be going too fast for it to read.
He's a nutcase though, but I
Yeah.
love the kid to death. But he's the one who's actually helped me with the coilovers and stuff.
Okay.
He's the one. He's the one who I guess I don't know who came up with the idea, but it was a bunch of it was a group of 4 people that came up that had the idea for getting me coils for my birthday because I was always mentioning like, oh, I want to lower the car, I want to
And
lower it.
your birthday was just a couple days ago, right?
Yeah, it was 2 days ago.
Okay. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you, man.
You're welcome.
But for people who don't know, I have a '88 RX-7. It runs and drives pretty much as well as it should
Mhm.
for an '88. Um, the suspension before this, it was '88 stock suspension, and every time I hit a pothole with the passenger rear side, the
Yeah.
wheel would actually bounce by itself.
Oh, that's what you know.
So yeah, so the shock was bad. So I was like, okay, I need to fix this. And
Yeah.
my main concern, everyone's like, oh, you're gonna get seats, you can get seats. I'm like, no, I gotta fix the suspension because that's just terrible.
Yeah.
And the night before they gave me the coils, my buddy was making jokes. He was like, oh, we're gonna cut the springs, we're gonna slam it on its face, blah blah blah. And I'm like, we're not cutting the springs first of all because the springs are probably terrible as it is.
hmm
And the way he actually got me to his house was he was like, oh, I have a flat tire on the side of 70. Can you help me? I was like, okay. He's like, you need to get here quick. I was like, all right. So started my car, let it warm up, got dressed, went over to his house,
typical
and
typical rotary.
yeah, and he's sitting in his garage on the car, and I'm like, okay, did he fix it before I got there? And he's gonna yell at me for being late. And then he starts walking to the back of his car, and his trunk is open, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? And I look, and there's just a box with the coilovers. I'm like, what? It's like, yeah, we've got you coilovers. He's like, all of us got you coilovers. I'm like, huh? And I
It
ran
took a
over
second
and
to
hugged
hit.
him. Yeah, I was like, what? Like I was in such shock. And then I
Yeah.
ran over and hugged him, and he goes, oh yeah, we got seats for you too. I was like, what?
Oh, you got seats too?
Yeah,
Oh
one of
wow.
my buddies, he owns a Slam Genesis. I think you've seen it on my page before, the white one.
Oh, I think you just recently posted that, right?
Yeah, he just got a brand new set of Brahms seats, and he had cloth Brahms seat, like more like the bucket type looking ones in his
hmm
car before that. And he took them out, and he was gonna sell them to someone, but the person backed out. So he was like, you know what, I might as well just give them to him if he's looking for seats.
Wow, that's super
And I
nice.
like, oh, I cried. So yesterday, that's when we installed them. They took 2 hours to install, but all the adjusting and things took the whole day.
Oh
It was
yeah.
constantly off up in the. It was just and rolling the fenders, and I
Oh,
still have
cause
to pull the little.
yeah,
It's
you're going like low low.
oh, it's a tedious process.
Yeah, no, but it's funny because I saw you just got those, and
Mm,
actually I didn't pull the trigger on it yet, but I last night I was about to purchase a set of Tane coilovers for the RX-8.
okay,
Uh,
yeah,
and the reason I say I
teams
was
are good.
about to was because I was on Redline Racing or whatever. I forget what site it was,
Okay,
and I was gonna buy them,
mm-hmm.
and then they were sold out. I guess, and like I checked like a week ago, they were in stock like a week ago, and then
Mm-hmm.
I went on the website. I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it, and then they were sold out. So I was like, all right, well I gotta figure out like another place to get them. I think I'm gonna buy them through Fitman Industries because they're actually sold
Mm-hmm.
out on Tane's website.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mine are reactions. It's like RI actions. They're
Okay.
actually pretty good. I'm pretty sure they're rebranded BCs because they look exactly the same. It's just they're a different color. They're black
Yeah.
and orange. but I'm pretty sure they're
No, yeah,
BCs.
a lot of brands do that just to
Yeah,
like, I guess, get competitive in the
yeah,
online eBay
yeah,
market.
yeah. My buddy said he actually did order me BCs, but the thing was they sent him an email like 2 weeks before they were supposed to come that they weren't making coilovers and they wouldn't be
Oh,
coming.
wow.
And he literally called, I think, 4 or 5 like stores to see what they had,
Hmm.
because apparently coilovers for my car are kind of hard to find. I don't know why.
Interesting.
I feel like they would be more prevalent, but I feel like they're less less easy, like harder to find because the FD kind of overshadows the FC.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Because every time you type in RX-7, it says FD, and
yeah, no, FD just dominates.
yeah,
But
I've had a couple people ask me like, "Is that a Supra?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, "I wish it was
well,
an MK3
well,
Supra,
the
but
thing with
no."
the FC is that it has like that wedge look that like late
Yeah.
80s, early 90s Japanese wedge look that like the
Hmm.
A86 had, the Supra had
Hmm.
it. So
Yeah.
it's hard if you don't really
240s and
know.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I had
no,
someone ask me, they were like, "Is it a 240?" I'm like, "No, it's an RX-7." I
and
had
then
someone ask me,
they're like,
"How
what?
how many cylinders does it have?" I was like, it has 2 rotors." If that
uh,
makes any sense. He
what?
goes, "What?" I'm like, "It's a rotary.
Yeah.
It's not a piston."
Um, what engine is it? Is it? It's not a 13B because that didn't come
It
out.
is a
Oh,
13B.
is it? Okay.
It is. Yeah.
Is
It's
it
the NA one. It's not a
Oh, okay,
turbo,
okay. Was
but
turbo
it's
introduced
yeah,
in the FD, or was that in the FC as well?
turbo. Turbo was introduced. Turbo was introduced in the FC, and then they brought it over to the FD. The FCs they're called Turbo Twos. They have like a little hood scoop that's off to the right a little bit
Okay,
for the top mount intercooler,
okay,
and they have like a different looking like body kit. They have a little like the front bumper doesn't have like little grills in front of it. It's just a straight through front bumper, so you
yeah,
can get the max air and stuff like that. But the one that I have is a GXL, so it's pretty much a Turbo 2 just without the Turbo 2 drivetrain.
okay, interesting.
So yeah, it's weird because the GXLs were the only ones that came with 5 lug patterns for the wheels
Hmm.
and almost similar looking body kits to the Turbo 2s.
Hmm.
Because if you go and look at regular FCs from '88, they all have 4 lugs,
Okay.
which
That
is what I noticed. But this one it's pretty much built like a Turbo 2. Everything else like underneath, so all the calipers and discs are pretty much Turbo 2s.
right. Okay.
Which the rear caliper is a pain to find because it's like a Japanese only kind of thing.
Oh, you gotta like overnight it
Oh,
from
it's
Japan or something.
it's so hard to find. I spent because it was the right one or the left one was locked up, so I had to
Uh,
find. Yeah, I had when I originally got the car, it was locked up, so I had to find a new caliper, and I think it
man.
took me 3 weeks to find one. Like a website actually had one,
Yeah.
and I ordered it, and they said they didn't. It was out of stock when I ordered it, but it said it was in stock when I ordered it. And I ordered 2 just in case something went wrong with the first one.
Okay.
And I waited 2.5 months. Nothing showed up. They
Oh.
charged my card, and I was like, I was like, what's going on? And they were like, oh yeah, we still don't have them. I'm like, so
What?
can I just cancel my order and get my money back? They're like, I guess so. I was like, okay. So I got my money back, and then I met this dude in July, Weckfest. He
Hmm.
owns an RX-7, and he has a ton of parts, and I mean a ton of parts.
Oh, cool.
And I asked him, and I was like, "Hey, do you have?" His name's Josh, by the way.
Wait, where's
I
he
was like, "Do
from?
you have?" Massachusetts.
Oh,
Massachusetts.
okay, okay,
He's close to like the Boston area, I think.
okay.
And he has. It's like a chicane gray RX-7 on black multi-spoke weds with like a not a big Country Labs wing, but like a medium-sized Scorpion wing
Okay.
off the back of it, and I asked him if he had a caliper, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll send it out to you for $15." I was like, "Okay, cool." So I sent him the
It's like
15. It
nothing.
was here in 2 days. I put it on, and it worked just fine. And
Nice.
I've been asking him all my questions of all kinds of stuff with the car. Like if it makes a certain noise, I'll ask him. Because the one day I defiled the plugs,
Oh.
which is another rotary thing, which
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
Because I turned it on, and I noticed that my voltage meter was hovering under 12 and more close to like the 8 range.
Ooh.
And I
Okay.
was like, okay. So I opened the hood and saw the alternator belt was like really loose, and the alternator was actually at the top of the tensioning rack.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, okay, I need a new belt. So I shut the car off,
Yeah.
and then I think it was like 2 or 3 days later, we put all the belts on. I went to start it. It was cranking, but it wasn't turning over.
Hmm.
I thought an apex seal went. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, I have to
I
get a
know
new
that's the
motor.
first that's the first
I was
thing
like, I
no
have to
one.
get a new motor. I called my uncle. He's like, yeah, I put a kill switch in. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, check under the ashtray. I'm like, okay. So I ripped the ashtray out. There's a little switch. He's like, flip
Oh
it,
wow.
start it. He's like, flip it, turn the key, and mash your foot on the gas with your foot on the clutch. I was like, okay. He's like, that'll get all the unburned fuel out,
Hmm.
and then it should stall out, and then flip it back, and you should be able to start it.
That's so
And I was
weird.
like,
That's like a weird
I was like, how
process.
did you figure this? I was like, how did you figure this out? He's like, oh, I've done it like multiple times. He's like, it just got annoying. So
That's
he's like,
funny.
he's like, I just added a kill switch. I was like, okay. So I did that, and then I thanked him for that, and we talked about a couple other things that the car was doing because it was making a couple other noises, and he was
Yeah.
just explaining that it was probably just because of its old age.
Yeah. I mean, that happens. But
Mm,
no, I recently also just I replaced the belts in the RX-8.
mm-hmm,
And so the previous owner, he did all the work himself on the
mm-hmm,
car. He actually,
mm-hmm.
so the car has 137,000 miles on it. He put
That's
in
not
a
bad.
newer engine.
Mm-hmm,
It probably, he said he wasn't exactly sure of the mileage, but around like 60,000. So I'm
okay.
thinking since I've owned it, it might be
Mm-hmm,
closer to like 70,000 or somewhere in that range. So
yeah.
I knowing he worked on it, I kind of did an inspection and everything.
Mm-hmm,
And one thing I noticed was the crank pulley was just like the lip of it was just a little dented. And I was like, oh, well, like, not a big deal. So
mm-hmm,
when I was changing the belts, I took the belt off, the one in the front for the AC,
mm-hmm,
and it's supposed to be a four-tooth belt, and there was
mm-hmm.
only three teeth on it. Like, he, like, cut off the last tooth. And I was like, huh, that's weird. So I put the belts on, and then I'm like, all right, well, like the belt that is supposed to be there, like it fits. So I was
Mm-hmm,
like, it's fine. So I started up, took it for a drive, everything was fine,
mm-hmm,
and then I drove down to Freehold, so like 20 minutes from me, and
mm-hmm,
then on the way back,
mm-hmm,
I was on the highway. There was a van in front, so I moved over, did a little downshift to
mm-hmm.
fourth, and then kind of went on it just to get in front of him, and all of a sudden I just like it sounded like something just like exploded in my engine bay and was just like ricocheting all over, and I was like,
Did the belt come off?
okay, so what happened? My first thought was like, I was like, okay, like I know when apex seals blow, like it could be bad, but like I don't think it would
Yeah,
sound like this. And the car was
yeah,
still driving. Like I actually, when I was pulling over, I actually downshifted. Like the car was running like normal. It just
yeah.
sounded bad. And then I pulled over, I opened the hood, and I smell like burning rubber. So then I take the
Okay.
engine cover off because I keep my engine cover on,
Mm-hmm.
and I just see like chunks of the belt, and then I see like one long strip of the belt is like stuck like underneath the pulley in the other belt, and
Oh.
I was like, ooh. So I was trying to like pull it out, but I couldn't because it's just
Mm-hmm.
the tension is so much. I had no tools on me or anything, so I couldn't undo the
Mm-hmm.
tensioner. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just drive it home. So by the time I got home, it like cleaned itself out, and there were no more little
Yeah,
belt particles or anything.
yeah,
So now I know though that
yeah.
I probably need to get a new crank pulley, just because like I'm pretty sure that's the reason why it shredded, and that's why he only
Mm.
had three teeth
That's
instead of the
three
four teeth.
teeth. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but it was definitely a scary moment because I was
Mm-hmm.
I was just not even expecting it, and all of a sudden, whatever.
Oh, dude. When I was doing the first time I was doing my belts, I think I've done them 3 times
Hmm.
now. Um, I took the first 2 off, and the third one I'm pretty sure I'm not a specialist on rotaries, but it's the air pump belt,
Oh, okay.
at least on mine. And I went to go loosen the pivot bolt, and it snapped.
Ah, that's
So
the
the
worst.
yeah, the threads are still stuck, but the head of the bolt came out. So I'm
Uh
like,
huh.
okay, now what do I do? And then it was like, and then I watched the video. It was like, oh, loosen the tensioner bolt. I was like, okay. So I went and looked down under there. Turns out my uncle actually snapped off the tensioner bolt
So that's
in
not a very good
place of
situation.
half of threads on top of the air pump.
Oh man.
so so now the belt doesn't really have, it has tension on it, but it's not tight. It's like it's loose, but it's not loose to the point where it'll come out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a little sketchy, but it works. I don't
But
beat on the car,
currently it's
so
like that.
currently it is like that.
Oh,
Yes,
okay. That's the thing
I've
though.
had
Like
to
having to like
get.
baby your car. Like I hate that
Mm,
because like after that happened, like I'm running no AC right now.
mm,
Just like I don't need that belt, but like
mm,
just after that happening, I'm just like, it was so terrible. Like I've been babying the car since. Like I haven't done my daily red line that the
mm-hmm,
rotaries need. But
mm-hmm.
yeah,
I usually get it up to about, I don't know, 6 or 7, somewhere up there, every
what is
once in
your
a
red
while.
line?
I think it's 8.
8. Okay,
I think it's 8.
I go up to 9, and then I actually
Mm,
have like the shift beep.
okay.
And then
Yeah, I just have a little light that yells at me to shift.
yeah, I have the light, but then it also like beeps at me. It sounds like it's screaming. It's so funny.
Yeah, mine doesn't have a beep. It's just the light.
Yeah. Yeah, but I've gotten it to like 95 before,
Mm,
and I don't know if it's a rotary thing, but like I'm pretty sure I don't have a limiter because like I've never bounced it off the limiter before, or maybe I just didn't go
I've
high enough.
I've never had the courage to try and get it up there, so I always feel like something's gonna go wrong.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I were to try and figure it out, I would. I
Hmm.
just wouldn't want anything to break while I'm trying it.
No, I
Because
definitely feel that.
I got a question for you. Does yours run extremely hot? Like, does yours
Like the
like like make intense heat?
so
Because mine runs like insanely hot, but like
like
the
you could
needle,
feel the heat.
yeah, the needle for the temperature is smack dab in the middle of where it's supposed to be, of hot and
Yeah.
cold.
Okay.
But it feels like it's like pushing, like it feels like you're in the Sahara Desert inside the car.
Yeah. Well, I mean, rotaries just tend to like run hot, and also,
Yeah, I
I,
figured that, but like I'm trying to figure out like if it's running too hot or if it's not running,
yeah.
because
I mean,
I'm trying to figure out where it's running.
well, oh, you're pre OBD too. So I was gonna say you could like hook a scanner up and then like see
Hmm.
what the ECU says, but you can't even do that.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, so for me, I don't necessarily get a lot of heat from the engine that I feel, but the trans tunnel runs like
Oh
right
yeah,
next to
that
me. So like I
yes,
definitely
that.
like when I'm on it, like I'll feel like the trans tunnel get warm.
If you have your hand on the shifter, can you feel it coming up by the shifter?
So when I first bought the car, he had
Mm.
an aftermarket shift knob on it, and
Okay,
it didn't fit tightly against the boot. So
okay.
I did feel a lot of like heat coming up through there. And then I
Hmm.
actually there was a couple RX-8s at a junkyard, and one of them had the stock shifter, which I just love like the little
Mm.
triangle, and like
Yeah,
it's it's so much more premium. So I
yeah.
got that, and since then like it actually, I guess it creates like a seal with the boot,
Mm.
and I feel like no heat
Mm.
really.
Well, I guess my boot, the little wire that goes on top of it that holds it shut, I guess snapped. So I have to. That's probably why I feel all the
Okay,
heat
yeah.
coming through.
Hmm.
Because I'll put my hand on it and I can feel it coming up, like onto my hand. Like it doesn't bother me, but I'm like, okay, that's a little hot, but it's like It's whatever.
Yeah.
And my exhaust gets extremely hot.
Oh yeah, no, I mean mine. My exhaust setup is I have a D-cat mid pipe and then it's a Gretty
Hmm.
muffler, like cat back
Hmm.
from there, and like
Hmm.
I actually I spit flames. It's like
Hmm.
crazy. I didn't believe it at first. My boss told me that we were pulling out and he was behind me on Route 9, and he
Hmm.
said, "Yeah, you spit flames between first and second, and then second and third." And I thought he was like lying to me. So then my
Hmm.
girlfriend has a dash cam in her truck, and she was behind
Hmm.
me and got it on video. And I was like, "This is the craziest thing ever."
Yeah,
Uh,
my exhaust setup is a Pexi from motor all the way back.
okay.
It's not a straight pipe. It has resignators. It has all that good stuff.
Mm.
But I mean, it run like the tip is like a good 5 inches round. It's like
Oh
yay
yeah,
big.
I have fat tips too.
Yeah, so it gets pretty hot because the one day I went to go get gas, my gas gauge is also off. Like I have no
Oh,
idea if
that's
I'm even
scary. I
close
don't.
to.
That makes me
Oh,
uncomfortable.
dude, dude, I have to keep track of how many miles I go in a notebook. So like I'll write down the mileage of like when I fill up, and like if I stop somewhere, I'll write down the mileage of when I stopped, and then like when I start again,
Yeah.
just so I can like see where I'm going.
Oh, that's
And
terrible.
it's not bad, but it is a little scary because I don't know if it's like off in like the fact that it says it's lower than it is, or if it's higher than it is. Because as of right now, I put like I say fill it, and it's like 6 or 7 gallons when it's at quarter of tank.
Okay.
So I have no idea if it's a little off, or like I feel like it is off
Yeah.
because I put $10 in when it was at half a tank and it overfilled.
Oh,
So
really?
I had a puddle under my car, so I had to push it. I had to push it out of the because the thing was the exhaust was hot and my friend didn't want it dripping down and then dripping onto the exhaust and
Oh,
then
yeah. No, that makes sense.
eventually catching fire. So I was like, yeah, we can push it. And when he went to go look under the car, he accidentally caught his forehead on the tip,
Oh, and it burned
and
him.
he was like, "Damn, that thing's hot." I was like, "I know, listen, it runs very hot."
All right, so we got some comments going on.
Mm.
Hollis Winter says, "I'm gonna need y'all to send it." Nick Wicker
Oh, that
said,
yep.
"I'm gonna need to agree
I
with
know, I
Hollis."
know who all these people are.
Alexis also agrees with Hollis, and then Hollis said again, he's gonna bring his cutoff wheel, and we're cutting them all out right now, straight piping it. I think I'll have to agree with that. Let's send it.
Yeah, Hollis is the owner of the white bag charger with the copper lips that you see on my page every
Oh,
once in a while.
the
Yes,
Popo's coming.
yes, he owns that. Wicker is
Okay.
one of my friends from high school. He owns a slammed Infinity G35 sedan, like the
Okay.
four doors.
Yeah.
And um, I've known them for a little while. Hollis was actually another one of the four who chipped in to buy the coilovers, and he's helped me with the car as well. Like he helped me do the banner on the windshield,
Okay. Cool.
and he helped me wire in the new headlights that I have, which I have to redo the headlights because they are kind of bad. I can't see at night.
Ooh, that's not fun.
And my since it's so old, my windshield is hazy.
Oh
So
yeah.
when cars are coming at me, I can barely
You're like
see. But
blinded,
like
right?
yeah, but like when my dad rides in the passenger seat, he's like, "Oh, I can't see." I'm like leaning over the steering wheel. I'm like, "I can see."
Yeah, but no, that's cool. I know, like Hollis, like
Mm,
you. I guess you guys, like your group, kind of like. I don't want to say
yeah.
you're like huge in the car community, but you definitely seem to have more of a presence, like on Instagram and like at meets and stuff. I definitely like your group. I tend to notice more often.
Well, yeah. The main person is John Ticket M3.
Oh, I follow him
He's
as well.
yeah, yeah. He's the one I was talking about that we got pulled over in Ocean City.
Oh yeah, no. So okay, so he is. Oh, what happened to my webcam? Technical difficulties.
He's
um.
a year. He's actually a year younger than me.
Okay. He actually, so he did reach out to me. So he is in my article. I specifically remember
Okay.
him. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's Ticket M3, the Popo's coming. I'm pretty sure Arnie's is Bankai underscore BK2, which is the
I
Genesis.
I actually
And
like
then
that's
it's
so funny.
me.
I like
Yeah,
follow
then
all
it's
you guys and don't even
yeah,
really
then
like
it's yeah, then it's me, then it's Madison Wolfie or Wolf. I always say Wolfie, but it's Madison
Mhm.
Wolf. Hers is BRZ Maddie. Her brother Tommy. Her one of her friends Kat with a bagged Civic. It's like a maroon Civic with red Cosmos wheels.
Okay.
Um, and we have a couple other people. We have Devin, who is
Camera
a
again,
red. He
man.
has a he has a red 300ZX that's almost touching the ground and it's static.
Okay.
Everyone tried to convince me to get bags when I was looking at the RX-7. I said no. I said I don't want to do that because eventually I want to drift it. So
I actually had someone he just like randomly hit me up on Instagram and was like, "Hey man, I have an RX-7 also." Sorry, I'm just
mm,
readjusting my camera. See
no, you're good.
the problem is I actually use my old iPhone
Hmm.
as my webcam because that was
Okay.
cheaper. That was cheaper than buying a webcam. Plus,
Yeah, that makes sense.
I could like zoom in and stuff. It's actually kind of cool. But
Yeah, that makes sense.
someone just tried calling me, and I like declined their
Mm.
call, and I guess it went through to my other phone as well. Uh, yeah. No. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, some guy hit me up on Instagram, and he's also from Jersey. He's from like North Jersey, I think. And
Mhm.
he was like, "Oh hey man, like I saw you got an RX-8. I have one too. If you need any parts, let me know." And
Mm.
I had like I asked, "Do you have coilovers?" And some other things, and he didn't have anything. But he was like, "Yeah, I'm just like trying to get rid of it. It's a 2JZ swap." And I was like, "It's a 2JZ swap? How much can I
What?
buy?" I was like, "How much can I buy
I
the
was
whole
like,
thing for?"
what?
Yeah. So I asked him. I was like, "Would you be interested in selling the whole thing?" And he's like, "Yeah, but I know what the engine's worth, so I'm gonna like ask like 7,000." And I was like, "Oh."
That's still not terrible.
Yeah, but like
It
if
is
I
a
already
lot of
have,
money, but
yeah. But it was just like the most random thing ever. Like he just like wanted to get rid of his 2JZ RX-8. Like, why would you want to get rid of that?
I mean, I've had people offer me like Miatas and stuff before. I had someone offer me like a little red Miata that was on coils, but I figured out that it needed a trans,
Oh yeah,
and
that's the thing.
mm-mm. I was like kind of interested in it, but then I was like, once I figured out it needed a trans and the paint didn't look like it should have, I was like, yeah, no, we're
Yeah.
not gonna do that. Um, I haven't really. The main thing I've been bothered for, well, not bothered, but messaged for is how to do light painting. That's the big thing that everyone always
You've
asks
been
me.
doing some awesome light painting recently.
That's the big thing that everyone asks me. They always ask, how do you do it? And I I don't want to reveal my secrets, but I will talk about it
Okay.
because I feel like it's one of those things that it's gonna come out eventually. So,
I mean,
um,
anybody who is a photographer, either by trade or by hobby, probably
mhm,
knows how to do it. But
yeah,
then, like, once you teach people who like don't know how to do it, then
yeah,
it's like it's all over. Like, it's not cool
yep,
anymore.
yep. As soon as I started doing it back in the beginning of 2019, I used to do it with my iPhone. So I'd run around with my little iPhone flashlight, like kind of shining it on the cars. And I taught someone else how to do it.
Hmm.
And then I think it was like a couple days later, I saw like all over Instagram, like all the photographers I follow were doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, so either one, they figured out how to do it, or two, they talked to him and he told them how to do it, which
Hmm.
I wasn't mad about, but it was like I kind of wanted to do it. I wanted to be like the only one kind of trying to do it at least.
Well,
But
here's the thing. When I
mm,
first started doing car photography,
mm,
I started out like right away. I
mm,
was doing light painting right off the bat because I don't want to say I have a background in photography, but like I was interested in photography before taking pictures, and I think that I kind of was. doing the whole light painting thing before people realized it was cool. Also, I
Yeah.
wasn't doing it like you're doing some really cool stuff. Like I was literally just running around like doing halos or like drawing penises and stuff. Like
I've done the
literally.
halos before. I've done the halos before. I've had people when I used to do it with my iPhone, I had people actually request that like I would do like the name of their car because I like I have a buddy who has a GTR
Mm,
and he was like, can you light paint the car and then write GTR above it?"
hmm.
And the thing is, with that, you have to actually write it backwards while
Yes.
you're facing the camera.
Yes.
So it took me a few tries to actually get it right.
Uh-huh.
He was laughing at me because I was actually standing behind the car with just the flashlight on, with the camera wasn't doing anything. I was just standing behind the car, making sure I got every like all the letters right. He was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm making sure I can get the letters right
Mhm.
before I mess it up." Like, because each photo was 30 seconds,
Yeah.
so it's like I didn't want to waste his time with taking like 4 photos. So I was like, "Let me just get it right the first time." But
Yeah.
after after I figured out I could do it with any kind of bright light, I took out. My dad bought one of those engine bay lights that you can hook on top of the
Oh,
hood,
the big
so
long
it shines
ones.
down. Yeah, the big long ones with with the what is it like? It's like the 3 strips of LEDs.
Yeah.
So I started taking that out and light painting those like with that, and that worked for a little while. And then um, I went to Best Buy and I saw they had these little LED squares by Sunpack, I
Oh,
think
yeah,
it
yeah.
was. It's not that big. It's like maybe this tall by
Mhm.
like this wide. It's bright as all hell, I'll tell you that. It's like the sun, but I would use that. That's what I use now on like a monopod that extends.
Okay.
That way I can get it up higher in the air, and it has like light diffusers, so like I can
And
point the light pretty much where I
yeah.
want it. So that's what I use as of now, and I have neutral density filters on my lenses, so that way if I need it brighter, I can just turn the neutral density
Mm.
down. That way I don't have to mess with the shutter speed or anything like that.
Okay. So do you have like a standard camera setting that you always use anytime you light paint?
Usually it's
You don't have
30
to you don't have to reveal
seconds.
it, but
I would say usually it's just 30 seconds with an aperture that looks right for the time because
okay.
it depends on the time because usually I've done it from like just when it gets dark to like 2 in the morning, and
Yeah.
there's, believe it or not, there is a difference.
Oh,
It
yeah, no,
it
it's noticeable.
it Yeah, it may look like pitch black from 9 o'clock till 2 a.m., but when you're trying to take pictures in during that time, like you can notice it gets darker and darker and darker.
Mhm.
And it was like fun trying to like when I was experimenting with it when I first learned how to do it. It was fun for me to kind of like run through the cars with the iPhone flashlight and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then once I started getting more into it as like with better equipment, I took it more seriously as like I wouldn't run, I would walk slowly,
Mhm.
try and make sure I cover most of the car because what I usually focus on is the car, not really like the background.
Mhm.
I've done backgrounds before, and I've done ones where I'll take a picture of like just the sky, like make sure the sky is lit,
Yeah.
like without light painting at all, and then I'll take another picture, light paint the car, then I'll go into Photoshop and
You
mash
do,
the two
yeah,
together.
a composite.
Yeah, so it like I've done a couple of those. Um, but the most recent one I did was of Ticket M3's E30 in his driveway.
Okay.
That was the most recent one, and I
Have you
actually
posted that?
put I posted that on I posted the video of how I did it on TikTok, and
Oh,
because
cool.
that's like one of the couple videos that I've done on that app, and that one literally blew up, and I all the comments were literally, "What light do you use? How do you do this?" And I was like, I want to help these people out, but I also don't want to give away my secret.
I respect that. Don't.
And so I was like, the one kid DM'd me. He's like, what do you use? I was like, you know the light that like kind of YouTube vloggers use, like exploration YouTube vloggers and stuff like that. He's like, yeah. I'm like one of those. like one of those. It's hard to explain because it's like you say LED square and people think it's like this little square,
Yeah.
and it's like it just because it's originally supposed to clamp on top of the hot shoe
Hmm.
on top of the camera, and it happened that the bottom had like a screw for a tripod,
Okay.
so it just happened that that model of light had that.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that's what I've been doing for light painting, and I
That's
enjoy
cool.
doing it. The other thing I did was made homemade lightsabers. I don't know if you've seen those
I was
before.
gonna talk about that.
Yeah,
I didn't see
yeah,
that you did them, but
yes,
I was gonna bring that up actually. So
yes,
you made them.
yes. I made them out of like little plastic tubes with white paper and colored cellophane.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's like so you take any color you want, pretty much. Wrap What you do is you wrap the paper up first, put the cellophane outside of the paper,
Hmm.
tape the cellophane to the paper, and then put it in the plastic tube. And the way
Okay.
we light it up is we use like a flashlight. So we'll tape like a flashlight to the end of it,
Okay.
and we'll usually cap off the top. That way, when you're spinning it, the cellophane doesn't fly out.
Right.
But over time, I've lost the caps to most of the lightsabers. So when I spin it, sometimes it comes
It
out.
comes out. Yeah.
It comes out like halfway. So I'm like, I have to redo it. But I've done blue, red, and green.
Okay.
And when when I was just starting to do the light painting, like that was the one thing that everyone was like, how do you do that? And I said I made lightsabers, but I didn't specify how I made them. I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter now because people are doing it, and there's actually a store on the web, like on the internet, that you can actually buy pre-made lightsabers,
Hmm.
and they have different color flashlights that you can just plug into the end.
Yeah. I was
So,
actually gonna do something similar though. I
mm,
have a couple of those like LED like light strips,
yeah,
and there was actually some guy he did a shoot for Audi,
hmm,
and he did this exact method. He had an LED light strip, um, put like some sort of diffusion over it so you can't see like the
hmm,
hot spots where each LED
yeah,
is, and
yeah,
then he kind of just like put it in a tube, like a clear tube
hmm,
with cellophane. But what was cool with that is that he was able to just change the like here. I have one of the remotes here.
he was
So
able to change. Yeah,
like he
he was able
literally
to
just had
change
one
the
of these
color.
remotes and just flip through the colors. So
Yeah,
what was cool? I don't exactly know how he achieved it, but there's this one picture. I think he had it on he had it programmed to like flash,
okay.
and so he had like there's the Audi, and then he went
Oh, so
along.
like it's dotted, right?
Yeah, but it was
It's like
dot. It was
it's like a
like
dotted
yeah,
trail.
like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, it's like a yeah.
But he had it go through like the rainbow, which was like really like
Oh,
cool
that's
looking.
even cooler.
Yeah. So like every flash was a different color.
That's even cooler.
Yeah.
Because I've done the ones with the flashes. Because one of the flashlights we have actually has like a flash setting.
Oh, okay.
I've done that before with a couple of them, and it looks really cool. But I've always wanted to like see if I could take that a step further,
Hmm.
and like you said, change colors with every blink.
Yeah.
And I've been looking at different stuff to do different things with light painting. Like we've done the steel wool before.
That's something
Uh,
I've always wanted to try, but I've been scared of the sparks, like with the paint.
it doesn't. I don't think it affects the paint as
Okay.
long as you don't. Because the way we did it is we actually stood at least 10 feet away from the car and flung it straight in the air
Okay.
instead of like flinging it like overhead and around in a circle. We would
Yeah.
fling it in a circle
Like
in
yeah.
front of the person. Yeah. So the one thing I will say though is be careful with the glass though, because that can burn, that can leave marks on the glass. Because
Mm.
I know John was mad at me because that happened with his car. It left little marks on his driver's side window, and
Okay.
he was yelling at me. He's like you're gonna fix this, blah blah blah. I'm like what marks are you talking about? And like they're minuscule, but he's one of
But only
those.
the owner would notice it.
Yeah, yeah, he's like one. He's the guy that like wants to make sure everything's pristine and tip top shape in his car, which I can get behind
Yeah.
100%. I'm pretty much the same way with mine anyway. So
Yeah. No, I get that. No,
I have
that's
a
that's cool though.
I have a question for you for photography as well. Have you seen the dude who's been doing the photography with the model cars and making it look like they're
Yes.
real cars?
Okay, hold
That's
on.
insane.
I went out. I bought this RX-8 model car. Oh, and I put a paper clip with some tape to make a wing.
Yeah, yeah,
uh, and I was gonna try doing that because I like he did
okay,
the Huracan shot with
yeah.
on the treadmill, and I was
On the
like,
treadmill with the rain,
yes, I want to
and it
try
was a
that so
squirt
bad.
bottle. Did you see the one he did in like the factory, like the
uh,
old?
no, I don't think I did.
He made up like a little setup that looked like an old distressed hangar,
Hmm.
and he put the car like in the middle of it, and he made like the lighting around it like the lighting in the background red, but the lighting on the car white.
Oh wow.
Oh, it looked so cool. And the thing was, I saw the one with the roller that he did on the piece of wood. So what he did was he attached a piece of like a skinny piece of wood to his camera lens and to
Okay.
the car. So as he moved the lens, the
Oh
car would move.
wow.
And in Photoshop, he took out the piece of wood, and it literally looks like a real car. Like if you looked at that photo and I didn't say anything,
Yeah.
you would think it's a real car.
Yeah. The only
I
thing
even
like
like double backed. I was like, wait a minute.
well, okay, so the first one he posted, the one where it looks like he's driving in the rain,
Yeah,
I didn't
that's on a
know.
treadmill.
Yeah, I didn't know that was like not a real car photo
I didn't
until
either.
yeah, until like
And
later when he posted like the setup for it.
yeah, until like the behind the scenes came out, and I was like, what?
But
It's
then
like that's a model.
yeah, I know. But then after well, first of all, props to whoever made the model cuz it's very real.
Oh yeah.
But after that when he posted more of them,
Mm,
the only way that I was able to tell was cuz he was shooting with a macro lens, so you had
mm,
that almost like somewhat unnatural like depth of
yeah,
field. It comes in
yeah.
like it's too shallow.
I know what you
Um,
mean. Yeah,
but that could also be mistaken for he's just shooting with a long lens and just zoomed
yeah,
way in.
yeah.
But still, it's just like
It
I forget his
baffles me.
username, but
Oh,
I
it's weird. It's like it's ITX, ITS PPX, I think.
ITX.
I'm pretty sure that's it. Because I remember looking at his page because I bought one of his presets.
No,
His photos are insane, like
I
of real
follow him,
cars
so he'll
too.
pop up eventually. But yeah, I forget his username.
Mm.
I don't
It's
think that was it.
yeah, I've looked at his page before. I like his photo ideas. Like there's an idea that he did with one of the new Mercedes AMGs. I don't know which model it is, but it's like the long nose.
Oh, like the GTC or the GTS or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is. It's like the GTR AMG.
Yeah.
He did one where it was like the garage door was halfway closed, and he got the garage door out of focus, but like the back end, just where the wing starts, was visible, like from under the garage door.
Okay.
And he made the yellow such a vibrant yellow that it was noticeable right off the bat. And I was like, this dude's photos are insane. Like just looking at half of them, like the amount of detail he has in his photos.
Hmm.
Because the one time I was flicking through his stories, and he had one of an M2 in the rain, and every like every photo after that was just zooming in on like the raindrops, and they were
Oh
crystal
wow.
clear.
Yeah.
They were crystal clear. I was like, how do you do that?
It was zooming in like in the same image.
Yeah, in the same image, it was
Oh
the
wow.
same image just zooming into like a tight area, and
Oh, he must be shooting on like
it literally showed the BMW logo with like the water around it, and it was crystal clear. Like
wow.
it looked like it was just a photo itself of that, and I was like,
I
how do
wonder
you
what
do
he
this?
shoots on. That's like
I'm
incredible like quality.
I'm pretty sure he uses a Sony. Um, don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure he uses a Sony.
Okay. I know.
I've noticed a lot of people use Sony now,
Yeah.
like the
I
mirrorless.
well, I got into the Sony game before the Sony
Mhm.
game was really like
A thing.
big.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I have the original A7,
Hmm.
which like whenever I bring it up, I always say like I think I got like the runt of the litter because after the A7 came out and like all the success it had, that's why I bought
Yeah,
it because
yeah.
everyone had good reviews. Then they had the A7S, and then
Mm-hmm.
like the A7R, and like
Mm-hmm.
all the other cameras are just like so much better. Like they have S log because like I shoot videos too, so like that matters to me.
Yeah.
And it's just
Mm-hmm.
like I don't really get all the features that everyone else is really enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the thing, but I'm gonna probably upgrade it soon. I want to get the
Mm-hmm.
A7S too.
Yeah. I'm like when I went to a show out in Philly, it was Tuner Evo. All the photographers there, Nikon or Sony, and some of the Nikons were actually the mirrorless Nikons.
Oh, that's like brand
I
new,
think,
right?
yeah, I think everyone in the car community, like car photography community, either like they've been moving towards mirrorless all the time. What I use to shoot by people who use like the mirrorless Sonys and stuff like that. And when I say Canon, they're like, you're using like a a like a mirrored camera. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I like it better. I mean,
It's a lot more
quality
robust.
wise, yeah, quality wise, it's not different. Like maybe Sony may have a little bit of more clearer photos, but really, I don't really see a difference. But I just like more of having that kind of manual feel, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that.
But
Um,
the only
but
the only reason I also have that is for the drifting stuff, like the fast shutter speed and stuff
oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, because you can't really get that with the mirrorless.
I've heard people try and do it. It's just they don't get as many pictures per second as they should.
Yeah, and that's
'Cause
something. It's a high speed thing. You got to get as
yeah,
many as you can per second.
yeah.
Um, yeah, but I shot video before I started taking stills, so that
Hmm.
was
Hmm.
a big thing with the mirrorless is that they're like great for video. So I
Hmm.
think in the future I would consider like getting a mirrored camera.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know because I've also been looking into shooting film. That seems to be like just really fun. I want to try it, so I might
I feel
invest in
like
a good film
everyone
camera.
is. I feel like everyone is stepping back and shooting film again. I feel like film
Yeah,
is coming back. I've
no,
seen so many
it
people
definitely
with film
is.
cameras. Yeah, because my brother's been into that look of like a film.
Um,
Yeah, you froze, and I was like, okay, what's going on?
you actually look a lot. Your camera looks a lot clearer now though, which is weird.
Yeah, yeah. That I noticed that with you too. Your camera looks a lot clearer as well.
Okay. Yeah, no, but all of a sudden like you weren't there, and then
Mm,
the little Wi-Fi on my computer was just like nothing. There was no connection. I was like, uh oh. So I checked my phone, and my phone didn't have Wi-Fi either, and I was like, this is weird. Um, but yeah, what was I saying? Um, honestly, I don't remember.
we were talking about the FD, the RX-8, and the FC. That's what we left off
Oh
on.
yeah, yeah. So I was doing the shoot with the FD,
Hmm.
and she was I was like telling her like how I wanted to have the car positioned,
Hmm.
and she was like, "Oh, this sounds kind of complicated. Can you just do it for me?" And I like paused for a sec, and I was like, "I'm gonna like sort of get to drive an RX-7."
Hmm.
So I was like, "Yeah," and I was just moving it, so I didn't really get to like know how
Yeah,
it drives, but I got a
yeah,
little taste, and it's definitely a lot different than the RX-8. Like the
hmm,
steering's heavier, the clutch is heavier,
yeah,
the shifter feels shorter. Like the throw between gears is definitely a lot shorter.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know with FCs because mine actually has a short shifter in it, so I don't know what the actual stock throw is.
Okay,
But
yeah.
because my uncle actually put in a short shifter when he got the car originally,
Hmm.
so
So
that was like one of the
how
good.
much have you done since your uncle like gave it to you, or you got it from your uncle?
Uh, when I when the car arrived at my house, we did the caliper, and then we had to do the belts. We had to do the belts twice because the alternator belt that we put on was too big, so we had to take all the belts off again, run to AutoZone, grab a smaller belt and put it on,
Okay.
and then we did the banner after that, and then it's been relatively. It was like for 2 months, it was just like that in my driveway. It had dry rotted wheels, so it couldn't really go anywhere.
Uh,
It was all registered and insured, but it couldn't go anywhere because of the wheels.
hmm.
And then we, I, I started talking to the company Stage about wheels,
Okay.
and they offered me a discount because technically I'm building the car for Club Loose, and those would be the wheels that I would be running while at the track.
Okay.
So I mentioned to them that yes, I'm building the car for Club Loose. It will take like a few years, but it'll eventually get there. And they offered me a discount because of that. So we got the wheels. We got the front set first because they were like a staggered offset.
Hmm.
So the fronts are 8 wide, and I think they have a 35 millimeter offset, and they're 17s. The rear is 9 wide with a 10 millimeter offset, and they're also 17s.
Okay.
Because I've seen 18s on stock body RX-7s, and to me, they look like at least 20s. For some reason, I don't know why, they just look so big.
Yeah.
It so I was like, because the ones that were on it before were 16s, so I was like, okay, if I can step it up to 17, I think that would be fine.
Okay.
So then we got the wheels. We did that, and then that's how I was driving for a little while, and then had to do the belts again, fix a little things here and there. I got a privacy shield from Josh up in New Hampshire,
Hmm.
which he is like the god right now because my passenger side door on the bottom is like rotted, and all the
Oh, like the
paint's
rocker
coming off.
panel or the door.
No, it's the actual door.
Oh, okay.
It's like the bottom of the door, the paint's chipping away, and you can actually see the rust underneath.
Oh.
And it's actually where it's not like the paint; it's the actual like the rougher part where like it
Oh, where
shouldn't
where
rock
they where
chip.
they like, orange peel it kind of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like that area is doing that. So I was like, so I sent a picture to him because I was like, oh, my door. Like if I was like, I want to learn body work, but I was like, if this is too far gone, I might just find another door. So I sent it to him, and he's like, yeah, that's way far gone.
Yeah.
So, so he goes, I have a door. He's like, I have doors. I can just give you a door. I'm like, what do you mean, give me a door? He's like, I can just give you a door. Okay. He's like, it's red. I hope that doesn't bother you, but I was like, I was planning to wrap the car anyway,
Yeah.
because if I'm gonna drift it, I feel like wrapping is much cheaper than painting. Because if I do wide body it and I do crash it, I can just buy the vinyl again and wrap it instead of
Yeah.
spending
Yeah.
the money to
Instead of
paint it.
instead of going into the paint booth
Yeah,
and yeah.
yeah. And after after that, that's when we got the coils and the seats. The seats are sitting in my garage because we ordered the brackets last night,
Okay.
and they won't be here for like another 2 weeks. But that's pretty much all that's been done to the car. Really, no real like mechanical motor stuff. It's all really been like looks kind of,
Okay.
but
Yeah. I mean,
I
that's
mean
kind of where
it's
most people start.
small. Yeah, yeah, it's small kind of little things.
Hmm.
But I really like the car. Like
That's
it's
good.
when I was looking for like stick cars, I was looking for like a hatch, like a 240 or like something like that.
Yeah.
So like I never thought of an RX-7. I always liked the way they looked, but every time I looked on Craigslist, I don't know if you've noticed this too. All the RX-7s that are for sale are either black or red, and they're convertibles.
I've noticed a lot of black ones.
Yeah, like for some reason, I don't know why. Like I looked on a website the other day, and it was literally full of black and red convertibles. I
The
went through the
convertibles I
list.
haven't noticed as prevalent, but I guess you're right. There are a lot of
I
convertibles out there.
I went through the list, and I just kept clicking, and it was convertible after convertible after convertible. There was like one or two hard tops in between, but other than that, it was just convertibles.
People just don't want the convertibles. That's
I
really what it comes down
I
to.
I guess so. And this one dude that I know, he's in Jackson. He's also another parts guy that I've gotten parts from because I was actually cleaning the inside of my windshield, and the rearview mirror was so dry rotted. I hit it with my elbow and it just fell apart. So I needed a rearview mirror.
Wow.
So I started searching around on the internet, couldn't really find one. And then I was like, you know what? Let me just ask Josh if he knows anyone that's local to me. That way he
Hmm.
doesn't have to ship one out and have it possibly break.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh yeah, there's a dude in Jackson that has at least 26 RX-7s in his
Yep.
backyard. I'm like, what?
I don't know him, but the girl Harley with the red RX-7
Hmm.
was
Hmm.
telling me about him. So before, when you mentioned Josh, and I asked
Hmm.
where he's from, I thought you might have been talking about this guy in Jackson.
Yeah, his name is also Josh. I thought
No,
is
no,
it
I
Josh
didn't.
or John?
I think it's John. I knew it was a
I'm
J
pretty sure it's
name.
John.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like everyone who owns an RX-7 like is like either like they start with a J name. I don't know why. Most of the people I've met with FCs, they all have like it's either John, Josh. I've met a Jeremy before, so it's
Jeremy.
like the four people I've met, they all have J names. I
That's
don't
so
know if it's a
funny.
coincidence, but like
Who
I was
knows?
I was like okay,
Well, you're a
but
T, so you're the
yeah,
yeah.
I'm starting it different. Me and my buddy went over to this dude's house, and he's got a white FC just sitting out in his driveway with like red velvet interior.
That's
He's
cool.
got he's got a silver Spirit R behind it, and then he's got like a drift shell of an FC that's convertible behind that. And then and next to his house he has another Drift RX-7, a couple trucks, and another one. And
That's crazy.
behind that Drift RX-7 is a slick top like dark purple
Yeah.
RX-7 FC with like I guess like an authentic one of the authentic Japanese wings that they used to come with.
Okay.
And then he took us into his backyard where all the shells like that he uses for parts are. And
Yeah.
oh my lord, this man has so many,
Hmm.
and they're all like turbo twos, so they all have like when I was looking at the mirrors because I thought some of the mirrors were Ganadors because I've never seen turbo two mirrors,
Yeah.
so I was like, are these Ganadors? And then in my head I registered. I'm like, okay, turbo two mirrors are different than my mirrors,
Yeah.
and the thing was. Being me, I'm thinking, I'm like, if I can buy a pair of Turbo 2 mirrors, if someone doesn't know what they're looking at, I can just say they're Ganadors. Because they're so close. And my buddy was even like, you could probably run them off as Ganadors.
That's
I
funny.
was like, I was like, someone would come along and figure it out. But
Probably
uh,
after you
he,
start driving.
yeah, he literally looks around. Some of the cars have full interiors. Some of them don't. Some of them just have parts shoved in them,
Hmm.
like front bumpers, like splash guards and stuff. Like they're all just each shell has something different. And he
Yeah.
finally pulled out a rearview mirror out of one of them, and I think it was a white Turbo 2. It still had wheels. Some of them don't have wheels or axles or anything. They're just shells just laying on the ground. And like when I walked back there, I was like, how did you like in my head I'm like, how do you acquire this many,
He,
like how do you find all these?
it's his own RX-7 graveyard
Oh, really? It
or
is.
chop shop,
And
more or less.
well, he does own a shop that specializes in rotary motors, which I can understand why
Yeah.
he has so many because he needs parts. And parts aren't easy to come by for those motors. So, I mean, at least
That
from
makes
what
sense.
I looked at. So, but like, I just thought it was amazing that he had so many RX-7s.
Yeah.
And like,
No.
you literally drive by the house, and it's like this small little house, but like, you
It's
can
like just
see.
mad cars.
Oh yeah, everywhere.
That's the house I want to have. I want to have the
Oh
house that's
yeah,
like tiny and then like mad cars or a massive garage.
yeah, yeah. Don't we all?
Yeah, I mean car guy goals, but like
Yeah.
you got money for the cars or the house. You gotta choose. Always
Hmm.
cars.
Always cars.
Yeah,
Always cars. No matter what, cars.
cars. Live in the car. Who cares?
Mhm. Mhm.
Well, I
Oh,
was gonna ask your little fan group here
oh boy.
what questions they had, but that was when the stream was kind of cutting out, so I guess
Okay.
they didn't get it. But we are actually this is my longest show yet. We're at an hour
Oh
and 30
really?
minutes. Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm gonna start wrapping things up, but
Okay.
you have your Instagram. But aside from that, is there anything that you want to plug or promote or anything?
Nothing really. I mean, I would like to give a shout out to all the people that have helped me with the RX-7. So if I can just ramble off a couple of their
Yeah, go
Instagrams.
ahead.
Um, so Josh's Instagram is FCJG_15. He is the one who pretty much helped me with the RX-7 from the beginning.
Okay.
Hollis is the Popo is coming, all one word. John Ticket M3, all one word. Um, my friend Arnie, which is the one with the Genesis, his is Bankai BK_BK2. So I think it's BANKAI_BK2.
Right.
And then there's a couple others. Maddie with the BRZ. It's
Mm-hmm.
BRZ.Maddie. And Tommy, I'm pretty sure is Tommy_details. Cat is cat_EJ something. I don't. That's a that's a long name, but mostly all the people that I hang out with. I mean, if you go to my Instagram, you can pretty much look at like most of the cars that are on my Instagram are all the people I usually hang out with, and they all help me with with stuff, and I am very appreciative of all of them. Very appreciative for all of them, and I think if I never met like Hollis and all of them, I wouldn't be where the RX-7 wouldn't be where it is right now.
Yeah.
And I'm very appreciative for all of them.
That's
And
awesome.
I'm very, very appreciative for everyone who has come along and let me take photos of their car as well. And I'm just very happy to be where I'm at right now.
Cool. Well, that was a very heartwarming shout out.
Mm-hmm.
On that note, thank you for coming on the show. We had a great time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Thank you. I
unfortunately, we
appreciate
had
it.
technical difficulties, but
It's
maybe
all
next
good.
time that won't happen.
It's all good. Well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.